That is correct.
Hmm.
All right. All right. Welcome, everyone. We'll go ahead and get started. I have some more people logging in here, and that's fine. First off, I'm Jason Dean. If you don't know, most of you I I'm familiar with, but there's a few new names here. So we'll have a chance in a little while to introduce ourselves and ask questions and so forth. Um, I want to acknowledge and give thanks to all those that were able to make it out to the March for Life in DC a month ago and help us out. We had our soiree, and it was our first ever attempt at that. And feedback I got was it went pretty well. What did you think, Susan? Did you have a good time, Susan Pisnero?
I very much did have a great time, and I thought it went very well. And it was nice to partner with Chastity to get things done for signing people in and stuff. So that was fun.
Thank you. I'm picking on Susan because she was our door person. She was the and bouncer and what. So,
Yeah, probably not the best pick for a bouncer, but what are you gonna do?
What are you
well,
bouncing? What do you mean bouncer? Like if somebody comes in and starts trouble? I don't know what.
Yeah, that's a joke.
we're
Well, no,
joking.
they use them. They use them. They have to. The
Mm.
Yeah,
synagogue does.
we actually had security there as well. It was at the
You have to
Renegade.
because
Yeah, we had security. So,
well, see,
but
we were snowed
Susan
in. I
helped
couldn't
with
get out.
our.
At that, it was starting in Philadelphia, and it was pretty bad. At that point, I think it was impossible to get out.
Yeah.
Hi, Susan.
So
Lydia.
Hi,
yeah,
Lydia. How are you?
Fine. I hope you got to your van okay.
Yeah, I
The van.
did. And you got home all right, right?
Yes, I did.
Good, good.
eventually, several of us had to rearrange our travel, and because of the incoming snowstorm that was happening, and so we all made
Oh,
it
yeah.
back mostly in one piece, but it took longer than well. There were some trials and tribulations, believe it at that. So anyway, speaking of which, email it to me. Shoot. Okay. I will give me one moment here. I apologize. I'm going to um, have to email our speaker our code here. One second. Um, Randall. Okay. Sorry, I apologize here to get our speaker the
Because
right
Jason,
code.
can you do that? Cecily knows Doctor Pro Life Doctor. She said he's a very sweet guy. Did
Good.
you
I
hear me?
trust you, and you've given us some good speakers before.
Yeah. Well,
So
I didn't. We didn't get. Was going to ask her if he was a good speaker, and she said yes. I know this man, and he's very sweet. That's what she told me. So,
that's a good start.
well,
That's
I'm only
great.
basically checking the homophobia. That's the number one thing. The level of it.
I appreciate that. Welcome, Andrew. All right. So our speaker is Randall Terry tonight. He is with Rescue Resurrection. Formerly, he was with Operation Rescue last century, if you will. So, and as a couple of our guests mentioned here, things have changed. I first met him back during the Summer of Mercy in the early 90s here in Kansas. And he did a lot of great work, very conservative person. But he's kind of had I guess to say, a change of heart or opening up to us. And so I wanted to make sure he was all right with us and vice versa, and understood who we were and so forth. And so he and Progressive Anti-Abortion Uprising and some other folks are doing, if you will, what they call it, their rescue resurrection. So he's be joining us in just a moment. He was traveling, and I just had to send him the link. So hopefully he'll be calling in at any moment. Board, do we have any announcements we need to make at this moment? Andrew, is there anything we need to ask? I know you're working on an email for us that we're going to send out to everybody, but
Yes, I am working on that. Also, this isn't really related, but the taking up a lot of my time is the Maryland Right to Life convention is May 16th. If anyone is in the general DC, Maryland area, it's going to be near BWI. It's like 20 minutes from BWI, south of BWI. So it's going to be a great convention.
And
Andrew,
Susan?
yeah, Andrew, I live in that area, so if you
Oh, yeah.
could you forward me the information? I wasn't
Sure.
aware. Thank
Sure.
you.
Yeah. Yep. I just published the website today, so it's what's your email? If you want to just put it in the chat, I can add you to the
Sure.
list.
Thank you.
Susan's a good volunteer, so
we need volunteers for sure.
Yes. So Andrew, as you may or may not, he's on our board, but he's also Maryland Right to Life. I don't know what your title is there, but he's with Maryland Right to Life.
Yeah, Director of Administration, which is like just wearing many hats.
Yes. So he's putting, is that their convention or what is it called?
It's a statewide convention that we're having. It hasn't happened since 2018, and I'm bringing it back. It's going to be fun. It's going to be upbeat. It's going to be, yeah.
Could you send me an email, please? This is Lydia. I might be out that way.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, the date's May 16th. It's a Saturday.
Yeah, it's 6 days after my birthday.
Maybe, Andrew, maybe you could just put it to the whole group because unless it's private,
Sure.
that might make sense instead of this, if you want to. I don't want to push you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's probably our next event that we'll be participating in. And although Andrew's with us, of course, he also has to run the whole Maryland Right to Life part. So he's going to need some help if we're going to have a table and so forth. So, and we can get you some information flyers and so forth, some swag to hand out and so forth. And Andrew will help coordinate with us to make that happen. I appreciate that, Randall. Andrew.
Yeah, and there's our speaker is here now, I think.
Yes.
Perfect timing.
Okay. Thank you, Andrew. All right, Randall Terry.
Can you hear us? I can hear you, and I apologize for being late. Please forgive me, everyone. I know that your time is valuable, and it's an honor for me to be with you.
Thank you. All right. Well, I started to introduce you, and I will just rehash now that you're in the room, so I don't feel like I missed out on anything. But I first was introduced to you back in the early 90s with the Operation Rescue here in Kansas. And so that's when I don't know if we ever really talked back then, but I definitely was following you and part of many protests and many days on the street together. So really appreciate you joining us tonight.
Nice.
And would you like me to start with your song, or do you want to do a little introduction first? Your YouTube video?
Just so everyone knows, Teresa is in the room listening. So I'll defer this to you. Would you like me to do an introduction of myself or let them hear the song? You know what? We should wait on the song because if one or two other people jump in, I don't want them to miss the experience.
Okay, perfect.
All right. So
we still have a couple more people joining.
I'm in the last year of the baby boomers, but I lie about my age. I'm 49 and holding. I'm going to get some facial work done. But I love music. Theology is a wheelhouse for me. As an amateur, I have a master's degree in terrorism, believe it or not, international terrorism. I love to read. I like to write. I like a finished product. I have 6 music albums. I enjoy making documentaries and movies, and recently wrote a song, and Teresa Bukovac sings the song. And we recorded the song in American Studios in Memphis, Tennessee, which is the last studio that Elvis recorded an album in. And
Oh.
the studio was built by Elvis's producer, world-class producer, and built it as this iconic producer and engineer. Elvis did record one album there, and then Elvis died, and the studio is still there, and it is a spectacular room. And Teresa and I had the privilege of recording it. I am the founder, for those of you who don't know, I am the founder of Operation Rescue. I led the largest peaceful civil disobedience movement in American history. To give you an idea of the scope, there were a little over 7,000 arrests from 1958 to 1968 in the civil rights movement. And conversely, by comparison, Operation Rescue from 1987 to 1994, about a 7-year window, we had over 75,000 documented arrests for peaceful protests. So more than 10 times the size and number of arrests as the civil rights movement. Obviously, the civil rights movement was spectacularly successful in its objectives, and Operation Rescue was only partially successful in its objectives. But Operation Rescue was key to overturning Roe versus Wade. Most pro-life people and certainly historians would agree that without the rescue movement, Roe would never have been overturned, because the social political dynamic that led to the overturn of Roe was birthed out of the tension of the rescue movement and Operation Rescue and the civil disobedience and the night after night news broadcasts. It was monumental. For those of you who are most of you are probably too young to know what happened, but it's worth looking at sometime, studying. Many books have been written about it, and we are producing a documentary about it right now. So enough about me. Should we hear the song?
Sure. All right.
Oh, so the name of this song is Ban the Abortion Pill. We were on the road somewhere, and I heard it in my head, and I started dictating it into my phone. And this is what we came up with about 2 weeks later. We rushed this, but this is all live instruments, and Teresa Bukovac is singing it. I'm playing the piano and the guitar.
Okay. Can you hear it? Hopefully.
Ban the abortion pill.
Yes.
Ban the
I can hear it.
abortion pill. Ban the abortion pill. Ban the abortion pill. Ban the pill. Hey, JD Vance. Ban the pill. Give babies a chance. Ban the pill. Skip the song and dance. And ban the abortion pill. Ban the pill. You say you're pro-life. Ban the pill. Stop turning the knife. Embrace the strife. And ban the abortion pill. Ban the abortion pill. Ban the abortion pill. Ban the abortion pill for the mamas and the babies. For the world, just ban the abortion pill. Ban the abortion pill. Oh, oh, oh. Ban the pill, millions have died. Ban the pill, this is genocide. Ban the pill, gotta fight worldwide to ban the abortion pill. Ban the pill, mamas are killed. Ban the pill, sewers are filled. Ban the pill with the blood that's spilled. Gotta ban the abortion pill. Ban the pill, not enough TL. Ban the pill, mamas need our help. Ban the pill, send it back to hell. And ban the abortion pill.
I like it.
Wow, that was incredible. Wonderful.
Thank you.
I was wondering, Mr. Terry, I'm also involved with Jewish pro-life. Do you think you could send it to them too, and maybe she can put it in the newsletter, or should I just tell her about it?
I'd like to do is when we're all done here, I would like you all to take it. It's on YouTube, it's on DistroKid, so you can get it at Spotify right now, and there's a YouTube video So if you just Google it,
Oh, I'm terrible
it'll
at
come
that.
up, and then send the link anywhere and everywhere you can. We literally released it
Well,
yesterday.
what's it called? I have to
I'll put the
text.
link in the chat too for YouTube. I'm just putting it back up here.
Why don't
So
you? Could you? I'll send it to Cecily. You have her email. She won't answer me now. It's the Sabbath. I can't bother her in the middle of the Sabbath. It's a Jewish Sabbath. You have her
right.
email, Jason?
Yes, I will send it to her.
Yeah, she'd
Yep.
like it for the
Okay.
newsletter.
I put
All
it in
right.
the
All
chat
right,
right
so
now as well. Okay,
What's
go
it
ahead,
called?
Rand.
I'll tell her. What's it called? Ban the abortion pill.
Yes.
yes.
I'll talk to her. You can put it in the email so I know what to call it.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Could
Go
I
ahead.
make a
Go ahead,
comment?
Randall. Oh, I'm
All
sorry.
right, so what I'll do is I'll speak for the next 12 minutes.
Yes.
I
Oh, sure.
apologize, everyone. I'm looking at my timer, and then we'll have Q&A. How's that sound?
Oh, sure,
Yeah.
sure, yes.
All right, great. All right.
Go ahead, Rand.
So what I'd like to talk to you about is ending the genocide so that it becomes a criminal act to kill a human being from conception until birth. So when I say the pro-life movement or the pro-life cause or anything about this discussion tonight, I mean a very specifically defined objective, and that is to make it a criminal act to kill a human being from the moment of fertilization until birth. I'm not talking about anything but that, not war, not capital punishment, nothing, just that, not animal rights, just this. So how do we get to that point from here? And what I would proffer and what I believe that is absolutely required are the 5 rules of social revolution. There are 5 rules that are universal to every social revolution that's ever happened in America, starting with the Stamp Act, the American War of Independence, the end of slavery, the women's voting rights, the end of child labor, the end of the Jim Crow laws. All of these social movements enjoyed or suffered, depending on who you were, a complete paradigm shift. It was literally a total revolution. So as I have studied these social revolutions and others around the world, I saw a pattern, a symmetry, and these are the 5 elements. Number 1 is incendiary images. So in every single movement I mentioned, there was images that were used. So prior to the invention of the camera, you had drawings. You had sometimes horrific drawings showing the injustice of slavery, showing King George as a tyrant. There were political cartoons that were published regularly in the colonial newspapers against the oppression of the British Crown. So starting with the War of Independence, going to child labor, that there was cartoons of these wealthy men eating children, devouring children, or riding in a sleigh, whipping children as if the children were the dogs. We see women being dragged off to jail. You can remember the grimy children from the coal mines or the little girls in the textile mills, the body of Emmett Till, who was slain, or the men who were hung by the Ku Klux Klan. All of these images played a critical, a fundamental role in changing the conscience of the country. So that's number 1, incendiary images. Number 2 is radical rhetoric. And yes, by the way, I am going to use an alliteration for all 5 of these. So for those of you taking notes, it's incendiary images. That's number 1. Number 2, radical rhetoric. Name calling. So the colonists called King George a tyrant, unfit to be the ruler of a free people. They used the word despot, despotism. And as you look at all of these social revolutions, you see, for example, women's voting rights. They took the Declaration of Independence, and then in upstate New York, they released the Declaration of Women's Rights. And they basically swapped out the words against King George and the British Parliament in the Declaration of Independence. And then in the Declaration of Rights for Women, they inserted men and the oppressive male tyrant who are subjugating women. It was a clever rhetorical tool, and it worked. You hear the highly charged rhetoric of the civil rights movement, whether from Dr. King talking about lancing the boil of injustice, or whether you're talking about Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee or the Black Panthers. The rhetoric was highly charged because they needed it to be highly charged so that it would grab and shake the conscience of individuals in the nation. So, incendiary images. Number 2, radical rhetoric. Number 3, aggressive action. Aggressive action. This was not done simply with letters to the editor. With the Stamp Act, there was only 4 ports of entry where the stamps came from, and the colonists either grabbed the stamps and threw them overboard, or one of the tax collectors, they hung him in effigy. Another one they tarred and feathered, which we're not advocating. I'm just letting you know that there was aggressive actions. They boarded the ship and took the tea, and they threw all the tea in the Boston tea harbor. In the abolitionist movement, we had the Underground Railroad. You had the town that started the Civil War up in Ohio, where armed locals, literally 30 armed locals, pointed their guns at federal agents who had come to retrieve a black man and take him back to the South. They surrounded him and said, "We're not letting you take him." The nonviolence of the civil rights movement, sitting in at a lunch counter, though peaceful, was aggressive, very aggressive. The freedom rides were aggressive. It was in-your-face activism. It was designed to make people uncomfortable, and it was designed for confrontation, to expose the injustice. So number 3 is aggressive action. Number 4 is serious sacrifice. Serious sacrifice. In every one of these movements, you had at least one of the 3, and sometimes all 3. You had people who lost their freedom. You had people who were belittled, who lost their reputation. Something happened to their social status, and then for some, they were martyred. They were killed. This is going, for us to end child killing, it's going to require serious sacrifice. Civil rights leaders were assassinated. They went to prison. Women went to prison demanding the right to vote. A war started over the Declaration of Independence and the colonists demanding their rights. There was intense conflict with the unions and workers' rights movements with government and state troopers who wanted the coal mines to continue in their full vigor. So all of, oh yes, of course. And the civil rights movement used intense rhetoric. I'm sorry, I'm being
gay rights movement.
Oh, and as you all know, the gay rights movement. Thank you, Teresa. As people on this call would be very familiar. I'll tell you a story about that later with my own connection. So these rules are universal. The last one was serious sacrifice. People have had to make sacrifices in each of these social revolutions. And then number 5 with these 4 is verifiable victory. Number 5 of the 5, verifiable victory. No one can own a human being. All women can vote. No children die in coal mines. Anyone can eat at any lunch counter that they want. All right. And the gay movement has won extraordinary. Hi, Vici. I've got a cat on my lap now. Meet a Vici, everyone. He's a pretty boy. You're a good boy. Just don't bite him, please. So 26 minutes. So in all of these movements, we see the symmetry of, again, all of us together, radical rhetoric, I'm sorry, incendiary images, radical rhetoric, aggressive action, serious sacrifice, and then finally, verifiable victory. I know you're a good boy. So if we're going to end the killing of children, all of these must be present. And there are many in the pro-life movement who would have us believe that you don't have to show the images. You don't have to say abortion is murder or that it's a genocide or a Holocaust. You don't have to make sacrifices. You can just have a reasonable discussion. You don't have to be aggressive. They're wrong. I believe it was Bernard Shaw who said the agreeable man or the reasonable man goes along with society and conforms himself to society. The unreasonable man demands that society conform to his vision. Therefore, all human progress is made by the unreasonable man. So we have to be unreasonable. And if we're going to end the killing of children in America, we have to learn from the playbooks of the past. And the immediate fight in front of us is to ban the abortion pill, because at this point, 63% of all human beings that are killed by abortion die from the abortion pill. 63%. We're over 600,000 babies a year are dying from this chemical poison. And most of the pro-life movement is asleep at the switch. So if we're going to be successful as a whole, making child killing illegal from conception till birth, and if we're going to be successful in banning the abortion pill, these elements must be present. And my mission is to create those elements. So most of you know that we had a sit-in in Memphis on December the 5th at Planned Parenthood. 17 of us were arrested. And then we had another one at Health and Human Services on January 22nd, where 16 of us were arrested. And all of those actions, showing the dead babies, using radical rhetoric, having aggressive action where we're forcing the police to arrest us, the sacrifice of being in jail for the weekend in Memphis. And the Memphis jail is as bad as you've heard it is, or worse. It is pretty much universally regarded in America right now as the worst jail system. And we were in it. And it, you know, it's not Beijing, don't get me wrong. It's not Riyadh, but it was not good. So it was a sacrifice to be there. But no one ripped off our head. No one cut off our limbs. No one sold our body parts to Planned Parenthood or the highest bidder. So we made it through, and our pursuit is in verifiable victory. So that's all I've got to say. And I finished a minute early, and I'll throw it back to you, Jason, and welcome any questions. And I'm gonna ask you, everyone, please ask me questions. Please don't get in a debate with me if you can help yourself, because we've only got 30 minutes and I want to use that time to download anything that I can to be a help to you. And I do have an agenda here that will come up as the questions proceed.
Okay, I'll go around the room. I do see Susan has her hand raised, so I will start with Susan. And this is the time, of course, you're welcome to introduce yourself real briefly and then question, comment for our speaker, for us. Susan, we'll start with you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. This group adopted me when I couldn't find a pro-life group for people with disabilities, and I feel completely bonded with every one of you. It's been wonderful. I wanted to suggest a small tweak to your vision, Mr. Cherry, and I feel very humble even saying this, but they announced that Oregon just created a infanticide law. I don't know the details, but I did hear that happened. And I would suggest, you said you wanted to make a law that protected infants from birth, from throughout conception and birth. I would say, and for a time after birth, because as I'm sure you're probably aware, Peter Singer was pushing to make infants seen as fetuses somehow, and that you could kill them after birth. So that's my only comment.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It's a point well made. I'm not sure that legislatively it's the right way to go about it, but it is an absolute fact that infanticide is happening right now in America.
Yes, and she mentioned Oregon.
And it's a fight that we must have, and so is euthanasia. I have chosen in this evening and in my work to focus on the unborn from conception until birth. Infanticide is a part of that fight, but it is distinct, as euthanasia is a part of that fight, but is also distinct. So thank you for your input.
All right. Well, thank you, Susan. Alice,
Oh, hey, just first time I'm speaking here.
welcome.
Yeah, can you see me?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Randall, I have a question. So basically, I'm part of like the SPL monthly donor like group chat, and we were like having a discussion a few days ago about how the Army brief once had the once labeled PL like groups as like
The what?
terrorist.
Can you say that all again?
I was having a discussion in the secular pro-life group chat. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Your microphone is breaking up.
Oh, okay. Yes, I was having a discussion there, and I found your group, Operation Rescue, to be labeled as a terrorist group in this one Army brief slideshow. I'm not sure if you can see it.
Uh-huh.
How does it? How does it feel? Knowing that they took down the slide. But how does it feel? Knowing that your operation was once considered like a terrorist by the U.S. Army brief.
I love it. It makes me feel so empowered, because if you do the 4 things that get you verifiable victory, you will be falsely accused. For those of us from a Christian background, you'll remember Jesus said, "Blessed are you when you are persecuted for doing what's right. Blessed are you when men hate you, revile you, cast your name out as evil, say all manner of evil against you falsely, separate you from their company." He said, "Rejoice, leap for joy. Great is your reward in heaven." That's the way they used to treat the prophets before you. So if you, I believe that one of the marks of a heroic warrior, and I mean that in the positive sense, is that they die with the right scars and the right enemies. A person is known at the end of their life by their scars and their enemies. And that's not the total sum of their life, also who are their friends, who love them. But if we are doing the right thing, then we will have the right enemies. We will have the right adversaries. So I'm thrilled that I've been called a terrorist for 40 years, literally for 40 years. I had one network have to settle with me, and I got a $30,000 check, gave $10,000 to my lawyer, and bought a piano with the other 20. But because one of their hosts said that Randall Terry is running around murdering people, and you can't say that because I'm not. And that slander cost one of the major networks $30,000. I should have held out for more money, frankly, but I can be thankful that I've had, and that the movement that I led had the impact on the country that we would be called a terrorist organization. Clearly, we're not. And by the way, as I mentioned earlier, I have a master's degree in what terrorism really is. And Operation Rescue, the rescue movement, is not that.
Yeah. And my second question for you is, why do you think the pro-life movement is so like meek? Like, why is it like? Why do you think they're not as aggressive as they should be?
Well, if you look at the totality of the pro-life movement right now, you will see that of the 4 elements, radical rhetoric, etc., that most of the establishment does not use them in tandem. And some of them won't use any of them. Why? Because of the personal cost. If you want to get a picture with President Trump, do you really or Vice President Vance, do you really think that you can shout him down and then have a nice sit together? So for those of you who don't know, at the March for Life, Teresa and I put together a band of people. We were going to go to the stage and disrupt Vance, Vice President Vance. Well, only two of us got through, Teresa and I, and the rest were hung up at the security, the stupid metal detectors. So they never got to us. So when Vance started speaking, Teresa and I were up in the front going, ban the abortion pill, ban the abortion pill. We were doing the chant of the song, literally in rhythm, so that we could use it in a music video. But we got under his skin. So here we had an aggressive action and radical rhetoric. For that moment, it was radical. And we really were ticking people off. People around us were not happy. He's the vice president. You got to show respect. He's been on television saying he supports the abortion pill. So yeah, we're confronting him. Most of the pro-life movement would rather have a picture with Vice President Vance. I'm sorry, not most of the pro-life movement. Much of the pro-life leadership, the current leadership, would rather have a picture with Vance than to confront Vance for the hypocrisy and the treachery. But if you're out for the picture, you're not going to make it illegal to kill a baby. You're not going to ban the pill because you're not creating the social tension that is required in order to have social change. So the pro-life movement is having minimal impact because of risk aversion. People are averse to risk, fear of reputation, wanting to get invited to the party. Look at what Jesus said, what I quoted to you a minute ago.
Yep.
You've got to be hated. You're going to be persecuted. They're going to not invite you to the party. So all of those negative things, those are the things that people want. I want to be invited to the party. I don't want to be spoken ill of. I don't want to be persecuted. I want to have my nice, peaceful, quiet life and end abortion. Well, you can't have both, baby. It's real simple.
Thank you, Alice.
Thank you for answering.
Thank you. Mary, you next.
Yes. I have two parts. One is a question, and the other is more like a different perspective I don't want to get too much into.
Okay.
I don't want to get into a debate or anything, but anyway, the first question is, so I think when it comes to building alliances, I think a lot of non-traditional pro-lifers, particularly, atheists, other non-Christians, the LGBT community, etc. I think a lot of us are distrustful of people who are more religious, more right-wing, more, because, in a lot of cases we'll be like doing pro-life stuff with, people, and they'll be like constantly, being like, oh, you're going to hell, or even just being called being constantly told, oh, this is a sin, you shouldn't identify,
So
this way.
Question?
I'm not saying, I mean, y'all are allowed to have your own beliefs personally, but how do you set aside your differences and rebuild that trust with, the non-traditional pro-lifers?
That's a great question. I cannot speak for how you would do that. I can speak for how I might do it, and how I can also speak to my own evolution in this fight. I'm currently Roman Catholic, and I used to be an evangelical Protestant, and I went through quite a spectrum of different denominations. I have an undergraduate degree in theology, and as I mentioned early, I love the scriptures. I love the Bible. I do. And I know it pretty well. So my early years in pro-life, I was in an anti-Catholic, they're pretty much anti-everything, evangelical sect. And I got this enormous pushback against working with Catholics, that Catholics were evil, the church was the great whore of Babylon, they worship Mary, they're not Christians, they're idolaters. I mean, it was coming at me from all directions. And I was just thinking, look, I just want to save babies. But I still fell into the trap. Like, I've got to evangelize them. I have to tell them that they have to be saved, that they have to come to know Jesus. I mean, I'm being honest with you. I'm Catholic now, but this is how I used to view Catholics. So it was very uncomfortable at the beginning. And then over time, going to jail with them and hanging out with them and actually learning Catholicism on Catholicism's terms, not my bigoted Protestant terms, I came to become Catholic. And I still have a lot of things that I question, and I have certain things that I doubt. I believe in the power to doubt. But it was a long and sometimes internally tortured process. So fast forward to meeting Teresa and Herb and this group of people that were saving babies and displaying insane courage. And long before I met POW and people in POW, when I would get all this harassment from Protestants about my working with Catholics, I would redo, and you'll hate this, but I'm going to be honest what I would say. Maybe you won't hate it, but I would redo the story of the Good Samaritan. And I would say, the priest walked by and he was going to leave the man to die. He did leave the man to die, but when he got home, he was so moved and troubled by what he heard and the moaning and the groaning that he sat down and wrote a book called Secular Humanism, The Root of Ditch Beatings. And he got a book contract, and it became a bestseller, and he toured the country lecturing and became a really known specialist on secular humanism, The Root of Ditch Beatings. Unfortunately, the man who he should have helped died. And the next guy that came was the Levite, who was a singing Levite. And he went home and left the man to die, but he went home and was so angry and upset, he wrote a song, Dying in the Ditch. And it became a bestseller, and he got a Grammy Award. And then along comes the gay Mormon. And the gay Mormon jumps into the ditch and saves the man's life and puts him on the donkey and pours in the oil and wine. And he's the hero of the story. Well, when I would say that to a group of angry evangelicals, I was, excuse my language, but I was bitch slapping them. I was just like, and making them uncomfortable on purpose. So it was easy for me. I found myself maybe 5 or 6 years ago in a meeting with the POW people, and I think it was a Red Rose Rescue meeting or a Silver Rose or some meeting. And right off the bat, there's like 30 of us in this room, and I didn't even know who was there. And somebody stood up and said, "You should not have the POW people in this room. This is wrong." And when I heard what was going on, I asked Teresa, I said, "Sit near me." So I was immediately staking out my ground. Like, I don't know what fight is going on in this room, but I know that this woman has courage. And they started in on the POW folks. And I basically gave the story that I just did, which I won't repeat, for the parable of the Good Samaritan, but I made the POW people the heroes of the story. And it shut the whole thing down. That was it. That was the last time that fight emerged for the evening, and most of the policies that came out of that for the pro-life groups. So on my own journey, I want to end the killing of children. And if my child was drowning and I needed your help or anyone's help, I'll quote Joan Andrews. Joan Andrews said, "If it's a Satanist or a mass murderer, I'll take their help to save a baby." She did. She said, "No, but don't compare games to Satan." No, I'm not comparing anyone to anyone. I'm saying that I will work with any human being to save a baby and to end this Holocaust. So that has been my functioning position since I started. The advent of the progressive LGBTQ wing of the pro-life movement and its impact is fairly new. So I've had to go through it again. I catch crap almost on a daily basis. I do. I mean, I do. I catch crap almost on a daily basis because of who I am willing to work with. But if my daughter is worth the help of any human being to save her from drowning, then every baby is worth the help of any human being to save their lives. And I've been willing, and part of my transformation is say, look, let's not fight about these things. So we just had two really, really cool events in Memphis and in DC. And if you want to look up the MS Now story, MSNBC became MS Now. They did a pretty big profile piece on me a couple of weeks ago, and they were blown away by how eclectic the room was that we had put together to fight against child killing. And I'm trying my best, I'm sure with errors, trying my best to go forward in this battle with a distinct mission: end the killing from conception till birth. It's not about anything else for me. That's it. And those other issues are important to a lot of people, obviously, but I want to end the killing. That's what I want to do. I have a limited number of years left. I still have my mind. I have a significant body of experience that I want to share with people, and still have a few leadership skills intact. And I like music. So I hope to write a whole bunch of songs, and Teresa can sing the lead.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
I'm sorry
Hi.
for that really long.
Lydia, you're next.
Hi, Mr. Terry. It's really great to at least talk to you again. My name is Lydia Farmer. We met at the soiree. I'm from Chicago, and I mentioned to you I saw you about 20, 30 years ago. I really appreciate you. As I mentioned to you at the soiree, you and your form of, excuse me, doing pro-life work, along with Joe Scheidler and the courage that he had, encouraged me as a Christian long before I became pro-life to have courage, to be a Christian. So the things that you have done, particularly in the past, in order to get the message across that we must end abortion, basically, in the United States, I admire. I love it. It's great. My
Why do
problem
I feel like
is,
there's a butt coming?
kind of, but it kind of, yes. My problem is the methods that you're using, like with going up to JD Vance, and I understand the disruption. I do understand it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. My problem is that these methods are old. They don't really, they hardly ring a bell anymore, especially with the young people, as well as with the kind of half asleep older folks like us. We still need, when you were talking about, sometimes being disruptive, going to jail, getting arrested, so forth, but we have to add something else to the dimension. I, for one, if I had been at that podium or near the podium where JD Vance was speaking, I didn't know about the abortion pill pretty much taking over where Roe versus Wade left off. It's very naive of me not to have known that, but I didn't. I really didn't. I was kind of still in this honeymoon stage, even though it's been 4 years.
All right, so for the sake of time, because we're going to run out of time.
Sure. I'm sorry.
Yeah, what is the difference?
What can we do other than the old methods? It's like the arrest thing doesn't work anymore, and all the other stuff. Well, it seemed like there's something else.
I respectfully disagree. We were talking earlier today. In 1991, the Casey decision came out of Pennsylvania. This is just at the dawn of the internet, really no internet to speak of, no social media at all. You still had to go to ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, the New York Times for your news, radio. We were this close to winning. If Roe had been overturned in 1991, child killing would be illegal long ago because
Yes.
the elements are present. But the fact that these tools go all the way back to the American Revolution doesn't mean that they should be abandoned. It means that they should be studied and employed. And right now, if we had 10,000 people in the street surrounding Health and Human Services, if we had people sitting in around the White House getting arrested, if we had people confronting Trump and Vance, pro-life Republicans who are putting the party now ahead of the babies, if the elements of social revolution that I've discussed were present, we would be winning. They're not present right now. So the fact that they're old doesn't mean that they're good or they're bad. The fact that they're tried and true makes them good. And the fact that for the most part, they're not being used right now means that we need to use them. I don't know any better tools. I mean, even if you look at social media itself, the impact that it is having, which is significant, social media won't have an impact unless it incorporates one or more of these elements. So we've got to go back to the tried and true rules and tools of social revolution rather than lay them at the feet of our political enemies. The pro-life movement has become tame. It's browbeaten. It's a fundraising machine.
Yeah, I agree.
Again, everyone isn't like that. Susan B. Anthony List, Marjorie Dannenfelser was with us in front of HHS, speaking to the press. She knew we were going to get arrested. She was there. Joan Andrews, Sister Dee Dee was there. She's a world famous nun, surgeon, a retired officer in the Army. So in the pro-life movement, we've lost our fire. If abortion really is murder, our reaction should be equal to the crime. If you were about to be murdered, what do you want me to do? How do you want me to behave? What do you want me to scream? Do you want me to make a meme? Oh, wait, don't stab her yet. Let me get a picture of this. Hold on, I've got an idea. This is going to be really funny. I got a song I'm going to play. Dead Babies by Alice Cooper. No.
I understand.
So I would proffer that the age of the tools is not relevant. It's whether we're using them.
Okay. Thank you, Lydia. Judy?
Mr. Terry Randall, I don't know how you want to be addressed, but I'll just say Mr. Terry for now. I'm not Christian. I'm Jewish. And we've had rabbis in my religion. I'm not Orthodox. I'm more liberal Jew. We've had rabbis outwardly say that life begins at birth. Now, in my history, that we have the history of the Holocaust, which makes me sick, frankly. With our history, we should be pro-life. And the thing is, it's very difficult. I wish I had your guts, but it's very difficult to go against your community. It's very, very hard. Oh, yeah, Rabbi, we don't believe in, we believe that life begins at birth and abortion is fine. As a matter of fact, last weekend, B'nai B'rith Women, it's called something else, Jewish Women International, they had services for choice or some repro Shabbat or some whatever. I don't want to get into it. And this is what I'm contending with. And I wish I had your guts. That's all I can tell you.
Thank you. I have a little idea to give you. One size does not fit all with radical rhetoric and with incendiary images. My vice presidential candidate was an evangelical African-American pastor, 72 years old, super articulate, and just as bold and courageous a man as I've ever known. He could say things in his commercials to the African-American clergy as one of them that I could never say. I could say them, but it would never have the impact. And I could never say we, as he could say we. So there are niches inside of every culture, especially in America, because of our breadth and backgrounds. You can say things to the Jewish community as a Jew as a Jewess that I can't say. I can point out things that appear to me to be inconsistent.
I'm not saying about Jews. Don't use that term.
But you can fine tune the 5 tools to your community to reach them, to jar them, to disrupt them, to convert them, to convict them in a way that I can't. I can do an ad that's kind of general. Oh, speaking of ads, I got to make sure I get my last thing out. Anyway,
It's okay. I'm active in Jewish pro-life, so she knows you. But it's just hard to go past that. I don't. I know we have to talk to other people, but I just want you to be aware that it's not so easy. I do what I can, but it's not so easy. It's not easy to say, yeah, I'm going to lose my whole community. It's very, very, very difficult.
okay. Thank you for your time.
Thank you,
for.
Jude. Okay.
Thank you.
We do have Jewish
I-
pro-life, and more and more people are a lot of silent pro-lifers out there.
Thank you, Judy. I'll read one more. Leah has me read her. Randall, Leah wants to know, the pro-life cause is important to me because I was a micro-preemie. And my question is, do you want women who have abortions to be jailed? Would you advocate for them to have counseling for coming to terms with their abortion? And that is what is wrong.
At some point, when we make abortion illegal, there has to be a penalty to everyone involved. There has to be. And let me explain why. So when Dobbs came down, as far as I know, I was the only pro-life leader that said, yes, there must be prosecutions. But I said it like this. I said, is a baby's life worth $20? How about a $20 fine? So let me come at this from 2 different angles. One is, look at drunk driving and the penalties for drunk driving. There was a time in America when automobiles were on the road and you could be driving down the road with a bottle of Jack Daniels, drinking it. It's not against the law. But then when they recognized the direct connection between the loss of life or property or injury because of drinking and driving, then they began to introduce laws. And over the decades, those laws changed to now, if you're involved in a vehicular homicide, you could literally spend the rest of your life behind bars because you know what you're doing. You have a choice. You're drinking, and then you're getting behind the wheel of a car and you took another person's life. So when abortion is finally made illegal in all 50 states, some people say, oh, women shouldn't face any prosecution. They should go to counseling. All right. I've been in courts a lot. I've been in family court, been in criminal court, been in federal court, been in civil court. The only way you can compel a woman to go to counseling is if she is in the system. How does she get in the system? You have to have law enforcement. You have to. So if somebody kills their baby and you say, oh, they need counseling, they need an education, they're going to have to deal with their grief, all this. Okay. How do you get them there? How do you force them there? Because you're talking about coercion. You're saying that the force of law is going to force them to hear this, learn this, etc. You have to get them in the system. So this is why I disagree so violently with the abolitionist movement, who wants to say you need to have all the exact same laws for born humans that for unborn humans. Well, that's like saying in 1920, you need to have laws against vehicular homicide and put people behind bars the rest of their life. In 1920, people aren't going to do that. So as abortion is made illegal and we recognize the value of human life, there will be grades of how the law is changed over time. Otherwise, think this through. A police knocks on the door, boom, 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 opens the door. It's the woman. She's got the abortion pill in her hand. And she goes, yeah, I'm going to take it, copper. What are you going to do to me? She pops it in her mouth and goes, wait, I've got another one. You want it for your girlfriend? It's absurd. And the other problem with it is the pro-life movement, much of it has been saying for decades, abortion is murder, which it is. To then say that someone could be involved deliberately in a murder and not face any consequences is to betray everything we believe. Now, we know also that women are coerced, that minors are victims. So some people are going to say, well, what about the 17-year-old girl that was pressured into taking the abortion pill by her dad or by her abusive boyfriend? Okay, those are the facts that come out. Now we're going to prosecute the boyfriend, or we're going to prosecute the parents. Now the girl really is a victim. That's the purpose of law. You hammer out these things.
Talk about your jail experience.
My jail experience? Oh, yeah. We were just in jail, and the pregnant women were forced to sit sleeping up on either on plastic chairs or sitting on concrete, no beds, no cots, not allowed to sleep, just hardcore abuse of the women prisoners and putting their babies at risk. So our mission is to say those babies deserve to be protected, and that if we value human life, then we have to say these mothers are pregnant and they're in a crisis. We need to help them. That's also why I believe in socialized medicine when it comes to pregnant women, why I believe that we've got to have a publicly funded true safety net for any female that is pregnant and says, I'm in a crisis, I want to have my baby, but I can't afford it. Then we, as a culture, we step in. You need food, you need housing, you need medical care, you need an education to be able to, we're not going to just throw diapers at her.
Okay.
I hope that I've answered that.
Thank you, Randall. And just to wrap
I was thinking one thing also about the clergy.
Stop.
If abortion were made illegal.
Judy, I'm going to stop. Wrap
Okay.
up. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. Randall, thank you.
Jason.
Yes.
There's something else I want to bring up for everyone, please.
Okay, real quick.
We are putting together a team of people who are going to run for the United States House of Representatives in 26 this year. We're looking for 26 candidates, 26 and 26. We currently have 16 candidates. In short, most of you know Teresa ran for president. I ran for president. We were able to show ads on television saying abortion is murder. And if you vote for Kamala, or in Teresa's position was if you vote for Biden, you have blood on your hands, or you're voting for abortion, you're voting for the killing of children, your vote is sustaining the abortion industrial complex. At the end of an ad, a person has to say, I'm Randall Terry and I approve this message. So I'm wanting to ask each of you to consider running with us, with this team. We'll help you raise money. You do not have to care. We're not looking for yard signs and bumper stickers. We're not looking for you to go around to political meetings and make speeches. We're looking for you to be strategically placed on the ballot somewhere in the country so that we can run ads against the killing of babies. And because of federal law, a federal candidate can run a television ad unedited. It is the only place in America where you can do this. You can't do it on social media. You cannot do it in a newspaper. You cannot do it on cable television. It's only with FCC licensed TV stations, ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, and the other, another handful of networks, Warner Brothers, etc. So if you're interested in joining us in this team, please contact me, Randall at randallterry.com. Randall at randallterry.com. And the only thing we need is for you at the end to say, I'm Jason Dean and I approve this message. That's it. Your face is on the screen and that's it. And you can save babies and you can have an impact that, remember those rules, radical rhetoric and incendiary images. We get 2 of those right off the bat with those television ads. That'll help us get to the end that we want. Please join us if you can. And thank you again for the privilege of being with you.
All right. Thank you so much, Randall, for taking the courage and going out of your comfort zone and a little bit out of our comfort zone to meet in the middle here and have a conversation. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate all of you joining us. We have some new faces in the group. I really appreciate that. That's always nice to see. And all your input and questions. We're not going to agree on everything. That's just the way it is. But this is the first step And thank you for having the courage to join us. And we'll be back again next month. And I want you all to join us for that as well. Have a good night, everybody.